Hello and welcome. My name is Carsten Lützen. I'm a Scrum Master and Agile Coach. If you like this video, please subscribe and share. That makes me quite happy. Today I'm going to talk about a technique that I've started to use, which builds upon some of these more familiar backlog refinement techniques. It's a format that I've used to create alignment if we've had a big backlog that became a bit unwieldy and maybe just needed some general attention to make sure that we know what is in the backlog. What I have started to do is first print the entire backlog out on paper with all the details needed, so the title and the description and so on. Then bring the entire Scrum team, that is the developers and the product owner, into the same room and then go through it. But I'm not just going through it in a top-down manner. I just put all the backlog items, symbolized by these ones, on a table, and then the team just picks up a backlog item. And then they score it from important to nice to have from their own point of view in the first round. Meaning, personally I think this is super important because it's some technical depth that we need to mitigate, and it might not be apparent to the PO, but as a team member I think it's super important. Or this is just something that would be nice to have a couple of hours to look into, but to be honest, not business critical. Or is this still in the backlog? It's not needed because we pivoted away months ago from that. Then we can put it in not needed. Or sometimes we also figure, this is already done. Why is this not closed? Then we can put it in done. So when all of this has been sorted as the development team thinks, then the PO and the development team can start a discussion, moving some of this around, right? Making sure that we are aligned on why is this important, why is this technical depth important, and the features that the PO wants, because that really adds value to the business, will probably also be up here if the PO has been a good advocate for why this is important. Because if they're up here, the development teams understand why is this something that we need to do. If it's down here, then we have some more, so to say, sales work to do, right? Why? To motivate the development team to learning why is it important. Hence, we might have a lot of post-its. I've done this with more than 100 stories at once. And then when we then move it around, it might also be that another team member says we already done that. Then we can kind of go back when we have all this sorted and use some aspects of the story mapping, and then start to look, not that we commit ourselves to it, but just start to look. So in the next sprint, it would make sense if we put the line around here. That seems rather doable and will give us the most important things, both scored by the development team but also the PO. Then we can revisit this later and see if something have changed and then move it around. But it's just a great tool for having these discussions on why is it important, what is important, and how can we do it. And while at the same time making sure that our backlog is tidy and clean and we don't have already done stuff or not needed stuff that just pollutes our backlog. I really think this is a nice way of doing it. And just getting people away from this one person with a keyboard sitting and typing to stand up and move physical pieces of paper around, that is wonderful to see. And you can keep the energy quite high in the room for even a longer period of time. So I can really recommend you to try this. And questions, feedback, comments to this way of doing a more in-depth backlog refinement sessions are more than welcome. And if you have other questions or ideas for stuff I should look into, please let me know and subscribe. That would be awesome. Have a nice day.